do stand out there as a senior gentleman who pontificate occasionally, and I noticed the neighbours who, I'm on a hill so I can look down on them. I noticed the neighbours were having a confab. Now that's not unusual, except it's at 10 o'clock at night. Now, they are having a discussion. I'm making assumptions, but you are going to take on the next stage. Why are they having a meeting? And when you've had enough, we'll pass it on to somebody else.
Scott, why are you having a meeting?
Robert Whiteman's neighbours were having a meeting late at night to discuss the noise pollution emanating from his house. There was a meeting, it would have been round about Christmas, and there was a lot of shouting and yelling and laughter. In fact, quite a lot of us were at that meeting. The neighbours.
The neighbours decided that there was enough, and they had to stop this ongoing noise pollution from emanating from Rob's place. Rob, of course, would have probably blamed BJ because he has the loudest laugh and the deepest voice, and he would have probably implicated that it was BJ being the noisy one that was emanating from his house, the light, the noise emanating around the whole place.
Simon, would you like to take over?
And it wasn't just the noise, the smell from Rob's place that actually made the noise seem like something really nice. So Rob recently had started quite interesting cooking experiments. What was Rob cooking was the questions the neighbours were trying to get their heads around. It wasn't pleasant. It wasn't something they would cook for their grandmother. It was something disturbing. I'll pass it now. Keep going.
No, keep going.
I'll keep going. So what could it be? What is that smell which, when you take it in, it brings up bad memories of your child?
James,
Pork and hoo-ha.
Yep, certainly.
Good on you.
Yeah. Okay, then. Look at it. Yeah. Yeah. That's a matter of integrity. Mr. Rob Whiteman, fought to his childhood and thought, right, I'm gonna, get this pot of vegetables. I'm gonna imagine that it's someone I want bad things to happen to. Yes, I'm not sure why he wants to do that, but it's probably better to do them in a safe environment rather than, I don't know, acting on them. So his neighbours thought, why does this smell so foul? And they were afraid of asking the man on top of the hill because they might be afraid that he's preparing for them into a giant pot. Because you see, it is a giant cauldron rather than a pot.
Tatiana, could you take over, please?
Fortunately, I was there. Because Rob invited me for his party, for his cooking experience. Because what he did in his kitchen, it was durian. Durian from Thailand. And he knew that I recently visited Thailand. So Rob invited me to share my experience how to cook it properly. So I suggested Rob to invite his neighbors to share our experience so we can make this conflict slow down. And he did it. He said, hello.
Could you take over, please?
This is what the gossip about is. Neighbor doing their own thing, and people start talking about what neighbor talking about it. They're just planning about next holiday trip during the Christmas time. That's what they're talking about it. There's nothing to do with the neighbors, and you are creating a lot of imagination here. They're planning for next trip, where do we go about it? That holiday, they want to go nice place in Taupo, and they're planning themselves. And we creating a story about it, and some neighbors talking about it. They're just planning what shall we do, what thing to buy, and all those things. And we'll take over now.
Okay, well, Ange, I notice you're hiding there. Are you listening?
Yes.
Good. Can you take over from Nathan, please?
So what I did with the neighbours is I invited everyone over and I said to them, let's do a potluck meal. So everyone come over and we'll all bake together and we'll all be friends. And then I'll bring out my Ouija board and we'll all have a seance. And then we'll get to know all the neighbours really well, at which point I would turn it into a Tupperware party and I would sell everyone as much Tupperware as possible. So everyone's had a wonderful time. Not only have they cooked together, they've spoken to everyone wherever they are in the next level of the world, and they've managed to walk away with the best thing that you could ever own, that is Tupperware, which is plastic of course, which never breaks down and is very, very good because it's long lasting.
Georgie, can you hear this? Can you take over, please? You might have to turn the sound off.
Of course, despite everything that's been said up to now, this was just a smoke screen to hide what was nefariously going on. There was no integrity in the group, in the neighbours, and certainly no integrity from Rob, who was nefariously watching the proceedings and taking notes, I say. What was secretly happening was an underground installation of an alien spy system. Now I'm not talking aliens out of this world. I'm talking Russian spy system. Because without Rob knowing it, in their community, there was about to be a whole lot of new inhabitants, new residents who were being brought in to the area who were currently being snuck out of Russia. But the Russians knew about it and they were setting up a watching post right under Rob's control.
Thank you, Georgie. I'll take over now. Seeing as you mentioned the Russians, I would just point out that my Russian daughter-in-law is very supportive and denies everything you've just said, most of it anyway, because I didn't hear it all, and my integrity demands that I clarify the situation. I was stood on the decking watching my neighbours, and I've got now 6 explanations of what they're up to, and I don't think any of them were true. Can you take over, please?
You'll have to film yourself, Ross.
That's all right.
Yes, go on. We good.
Madam does this.
And of course, none of them were true because really the neighbours were having a domestic. And they were not considered about Rob at all. They were considered about what they were going to have for dinner and whether or not they were going to stay at home and cook or whether they were going down to the Montrose or something in Mairangi Bay and have a wonderful meal down there, and neither of them would have to cook and they could look lovingly into each other's eyes over the table while they ate their food. And then they could go home and have a relaxing evening together watching an interesting TV program.
Beautifully said. Can you take over, please, Scott? Just because you've done it once doesn't mean you're going to get
I'll take
a few
over.
minutes. Yes, can you carry on the integrity that's around here at the moment?
And I'm very disappointed to hear that nothing really went on at Rob's that would make the local pages of the North Shore Times advertise or the East Coast Courier. I only wish that his local MP had been brought into this. Complaints from his neighbours about funny goings on at the Whiteman residence. I really liked it when the Ouija board came into play. Could you imagine a seance at Rob getting out of control and demons and spectres being released from another dimension into the leafy suburbs of East Coast Bays? Like Ghostbusters, whom they'd have to call to get rid of all the ghosts that were unleashed by the seance at Rob Whiteman's place.
Thank you. Whatever you said. Just to round up, I think, basically my local MP would have been there, but she's too busy at the moment, Erica Stanford, who's probably going to be our next Prime Minister. That's just my opinion at the moment. And I have to say the whole story is based on the fact that my next door neighbours last night were having a party. Mum was away, their father was away, and I think their teenage daughter wasn't there because the son, 21-year-old water polo semi-professional, had about 6 of his mates round the swimming pool. And they had lights up and all that, and they screamed and they bombed and they bombed and they bombed. And just as I was about to sort of think, shall I tell him, email his dad? Nah, it spoiled his evening. Ain't mine though. No, I won't do that. And about 5 minutes later, they all cleared off back into the house. However, well done everybody. I think that was quite interesting.
4 o'clock. Brilliant.